Howdy, partners. Just that wave made me say that. I don't know why. Welcome back to another Three Uncool Cats. We got Bob, Alan, messing me up, sitting in different chairs. We're all sitting in different chairs. Today we're doing Creedence Clearwater Revival.
Hey,
Willy
man.
and the Poor Boys.
Whoop, whoop.
This is our second band with brother issues. Bob brought this to us, so let's let him tell us why, and then we'll fight it out from there.
Yeah.
Well, the first thing on the agenda is a little quiz.
Uh-oh.
So,
This isn't about your scoring system, is it? 'Cause
no, but this may play into it because, you know, how they presented the song is going to say a lot, you know, in whether you get this right or not. Who are the four musicians on the street corner by the courthouse?
In the picture,
The ones in the song.
oh, the ones in the song, Willy.
Poor boys.
Yeah. You know what's mad is I literally was listening to this song on the way in, and I can't remember who it says. So, Richard.
I just named the names.
Did I get that right?
No.
Oh,
These are the wrong ones.
Okay.
Richard.
so
Richard
was
and the
playing
poor
the
boy.
harmonica. Harry was on the harmonica.
Harry. Wrong.
Jabarkus was.
Okay, I can see we're not going to get this. Okay, bad quiz. Rooster, Blinky, Willy, and Poor Boy.
Oh, okay.
He names them, and I never picked that up until I read the lyrics the
Yeah.
other day. And this album has been in my history since I started playing that guitar.
Wow. So, you know,
That's not quite true, but it's close.
that brings up something. This has come up more than once where we were like, we read the lyrics and this is what it says. What the heck were we singing for 40 years?
Just whatever it sounded like in our heads.
I'm not going to lie. All this time I thought it was Billy and the Poor Boys.
Well, that would explain.
So I
a
would have
lot.
he got at least one member of the band. I wouldn't have gotten any of them.
Well, you had Poor Boys. Okay. No, but I gotta start off by telling you a story of my life. I figure it's time to bring the audience into some of our history
Okay.
because when I was just a young boy,
Yeah.
at 14 years old, I purchased that guitar. You're not going to be able to see it, but there's a guitar on the wall here. I bought that guitar by saving my lunch money, which unbeknownst to my mother, and she wasn't happy when I took her the $14.85 to purchase this guitar from Montgomery Ward's. She said, "Where'd you get the money?" Darn.
You should have just said you beat somebody up for it.
Yeah. I've been stealing lunch money, bro.
Well, I've been saving my lunch money. What have you been doing for lunch? I'm toughing it out. I really want this guitar. So, anyway, she got me the guitar, and I started playing.
Okay.
My dad had played guitar, and I don't know how well because he never played it for me.
Huh.
He never played it in front of me. So I assume it was probably something that somebody had given it to him or bought it for him. He played it. It got stuck in the attic. The strings were this far off the
Right,
neck,
yes.
and they would literally, you had to pull them into the neck. So I learned.
And he's like, I don't know, son. I just can't pick it up.
It's like G.I. Joe with the Kung Fu grip.
Yeah. He said the key is practice. And you have to practice till you think your fingers are gonna bleed, and then go 10 more minutes. And I took that to heart, and I really did work on it. But I think that my parents saw that I was gonna stick with it, so they were okay with getting the guitar. I don't know what happened to the $14.85, but there's the guitar, and I started learning chords.
Yeah.
And you know, it took me. I'm a little slow, so it took me a while to get, you know, anything to sound musical.
Yeah.
So about the time I was starting to get a feel for it, you know, Creedence Clearwater Revival comes on the scene.
Right.
Well, the music that they presented had electric guitars.
Yeah.
That one's acoustic.
Yeah.
So it really wasn't going to work for me. And I ended up buying a guitar from a friend for $80. It was a Kimberly hollow body electric.
Okay.
And
That give you feedback issues, maybe?
oh, man.
There's a reason why they stuff stuff inside those hollow bodies.
I'll tell you what, it was a cool guitar, and it was beautiful, had pearl inlay and all that stuff.
Nice, yeah.
And I wasn't very good with it, but at about the same time, the Arbini brothers, which I went to school with, Bob and Mike Arbini.
Yeah.
I don't know how you get that thing down.
No, I was just looking at it. Go right.
But anyway, there was Bob and Mike Arbini and Henry Brandt. Henry lived across the field from us.
Yeah.
We lived on a 400-acre farm, and Henry's family farm was big too, and they adjoined each other. So we were friends, obviously. We were out in the middle of nowhere in the country. Went to school together. Henry was a year older than me. Bob Arbini was a year older, and Mike Arbini was my age.
Yeah.
So Mike got an electric guitar from
now,
Sears.
I see what's happening now.
Yeah.
Oh, a good
Yeah.
silver tone
Bob
guitar.
got a nice 3-piece drum set,
All right.
you know, and Henry got a bass.
Okay.
And we started to piece together what we thought would be a band.
Okay.
And so we had Mike played lead,
Yeah.
not well,
Right.
but I played rhythm, and it was not well either.
Right. Your
And
first band should never be good.
Yeah.
I'm telling you what, though, Bob could hold a beat,
Yeah.
and it started to come together.
Right.
So the music we migrated toward was stuff that was on the radio.
Of course. Right.
CCR was hot
Yeah.
right at that point. 1969, I was a sophomore in high school. I
Yeah.
graduated in 71.
Yeah.
So, you know, they were raging at the time.
That's literally what you cut your teeth on,
Yeah.
kind of thing. Yeah.
So the songs that we learned, obviously, were going to be simple songs. A lot of their songs, and even on this album, are 3-chord songs.
Yeah, and I noticed that for John Fogerty is an amazing guitar player.
Yeah.
But you know what? You wouldn't have known that he was as accomplished as he is by listening to these songs because he's serving the song.
Yeah.
It's straightforward. Let's write a
Yes.
song.
Good point. I heard Stu Cook, the bass player for CCR. That's what he said. That's the way he and Doug Clifford, the drummer, that's the way they played, was to keep it simple, in the pocket, and serve the song.
Yep.
And that opened the door. Another documentary said that Tom Fogerty was one of the best rhythm guitar players in the world
Okay.
because he was content to stay a strong rhythm.
Right. And
So-
one of the
Well,
things
he
I
thought
know-
he was the best too, I think.
Right. Yeah. But when you
Yeah.
listen to this, you don't hear people playing like this today. You used to hear it not just with CCR back in the day, but those little lead, little lead things that you hear. Those aren't scales. Predominantly, they're playing within the chord.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing within the chord as they're strumming, and that's, to me, that's refreshing because it's a skill that's lost nowadays because you either play rhythm or you play lead. You don't do both anymore. But you don't hear any of those cats' guitar skills beyond simple rhythm
Yep.
until Feeling Blue. That's the first song you hear a little bit. Hey, there's some nuances there. And then obviously when you get in the Midnight Special, there's some nuanced guitar playing. But other than that, it's just, hey, here's the song.
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
And long story short,
Too late.
we ended up.
That's what Heather tells me all the time. She goes, when you say long story short, I can't help but laugh because it's already been one hell of a long story.
So here we are. Okay, midpoint here. We had to come up with a name, and we came up with Grand Central, which I thought was an awesome name for a band. And we actually got some jobs, and I can't remember the vast amount of money we made.
Did you
while
play
we
at
were in that thing.
Zestos?
We did not. We never rose to that level.
If you'd have gotten into Bill's Zesto, that would have been huge.
Oh man!
You had made it. Next step,
Yeah, we
superstardom.
we broke up before we got there.
Well, that's your own fault.
I'll tell you what, we played. I think I
You're
told
just
you
about to
before.
break through.
I grew up on on a farm, like I said, and it was owned by a Catholic convent.
Nunnery.
Yeah,
Nunnery.
of sorts. And
Of sorts. So is it a nunnery or is it not
I
a
mean,
nunnery?
I would think it's like pregnant. Either is or it isn't.
Right. I mean, you're either a nun or you're not. There's no ish in nunnery. Okay, so go ahead.
I think they would be offended to hear me call it a nunnery. Of course, all the ones that I knew are
I'm
dead
sure
and
they're
gone
probably. I was
now.
going to say they're probably
Yeah.
not around.
No.
Unless they could be though. You never.
But
know.
let me tell you a little
They
bit.
could be back there and listening to us. Or
I don't think they're back there.
You never know.
Unless
I
this
do
place
see a
is-
bed. Is that a bed back
I don't know. I see
That's
something
Grandma's
levitating
bed
there?
back there.
Glasses on.
She
I
lets
see
us
something
have our
levitating back there.
YouTube channel right here. So
There could be.
I told you.
What is that noise? Is that a coyote?
it happens to be
Oh, it's a dog.
our dog.
He tortures his dog. You should see how bad he treats his dog.
No, actually, I think what's going on, there's a police car going by or a fire truck. She goes nuts and starts howling like a coyote when that happens. Anyway, at this convent, there was also a Catholic school for handicapped, mentally and physically handicapped kids.
Okay.
You were valedictorian.
I was not. I was the yard man. No. You guys are messing me up. You guys are messing me up.
Andrew, you're going to make sure that you and I have a special place in hell.
I
if you're
know.
not
I
careful.
apologize. We missed a show last week. I gotta get it out of me.
Where was I? Let me see. To make a long story short.
Oh, no. Oh.
Anyway, the kids had to have some recreation. So what we would do is go and play a concert.
Cool.
Not really a concert. It was a dance.
Right.
And there were like 40, 50 kids there with different difficulties.
Very cool.
And they would dance and we would play and we just had a blast.
Very cool.
We would live it up. But a lot of
Were
the
any
music,
of them lucky enough to be deaf at the time?
Oh my goodness.
that would have enhanced their experience there, I'm sure.
I'm sorry,
No,
people.
but here's the thing: the nuns were their chaperones, and of course, I don't remember what we got paid. I really don't. We got paid, but
All right, so Andrew has started this, and I can't.
Uh-oh.
Did you make out with a nun?
Oh Lord!
never, ever, ever.
Okay.
No, I don't know why that question would ever
I'm sorry.
be a question.
I'm sorry, Andrew. Dang it! Stop. All right. So no, that is a very cool story though, and that, you know what, that tells. That's the Bob I know. That's the Bob I know would have said, you know what, not make out with nuns, but the Bob I know is like, you know what, there's some people there that might benefit from this. Let's see what I can do. I like that.
I will go a step further with this short story. Years later, I was actually the recreation director there,
Yeah.
hired by them later on in life, and I was in another band at that point, and there was an old chicken house off to the side of the property that they had turned into what they called the canteen.
All right.
They had a soda machine in there and might have been a cracker machine and lights kind of like this, and our band would go play on Thursday nights because I was the supervisor.
Right.
We needed practice,
Right.
and they needed a dance.
Hey, I
so
feel you.
we
I
did
don't
it.
know about you, but I want a cracker machine down here.
Hey,
Yeah.
He said they had a cracker machine.
Let's
I want
do
a
it.
cracker machine.
with my next royalty check, I'm gonna invest.
So can I ask a question?
Sure.
What's a cracker machine?
I mean, I assume it gives crackers.
I don't know.
Lance crackers, you put a quarter in.
Oh yeah. Oh, I know what you're talking. Yeah.
I mean, I think it was a nickel back then.
No,
Put a nickel in.
Yeah,
and
all right. I remember those now. All right.
Yeah,
It's
man,
just been
you
a
guys-
while. I'm like, what? Am I missing something? No.
But anyway,
No,
Creedence Clearwater Revival.
okay.
Willy and the Poor Boys was one of my favorite of their albums,
Yeah.
and I've heard. I don't think I've ever heard anything bad about them, about their music.
Yeah.
Now personalities, it got a little dicey.
See, I didn't know any of that. I really
Really?
didn't. No, I guess I never got that. I mean, I was deep into their music, loved their music. In fact, when I was learning how to play guitar, there's certain songs back at our age, there's certain songs that this is what you learn. But once I started being able to make music, this is what I was making music. I was playing CCR.
Proud Mary.
Yeah. I was
And a lot of them were just, some of them were one chord.
That's right.
The whole song.
That's right. But, it was easy. What it taught you was playing in the pocket, listening to the rest of the band.
How to play a whole chord.
That's right.
And utilize the chord,
That's right.
I think, too.
So, when I started sitting in with musicians better than me as a teenager, this is the stuff they were playing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think everybody did, because at that point in time, there was not a whole lot of other stuff.
Right.
We're talking 1969.
Right.
You had come beyond Little Richard and Dean Martin
Right.
and all the rockers of the day.
Yeah.
And this turned the corner, and this was a blues-based and very simplistic,
Yeah.
very in the pocket. And although a lot of people think of them as a fun, good time band, and they were, a lot of their lyrics were just entertainment. They really weren't philosophical
Like
or
it fell from
political.
the sky.
I love that song.
I love it too, and I'm like, as I was, that's one song I've not listened to in years, right?
Yeah.
I've listened to these others, but not that one. And I was listening, I was like, well, what the hell fell out of the sky?
Yeah.
They never tell you. So not only do you get silly
It's inferred.
right? But then he charged $17 million. So I was looking up what that is today. Right? It's $148 million he was going to charge him for it.
But did you see the political approach to that? The White House said put the thing in the Blue Room. The Vatican said no, it belongs to Rome.
Right.
Jody said it's mine, but you can have it for $17 million.
That's right. Yeah.
And I thought it was so cool.
Yeah. I thought that's a fun song. In my mind, being, a guy who loves sci-fi and horror, my mind went to those old sci-fi movies I used to watch. It fell out, the thing from another planet.
Like the Twilight Zone.
Right, yeah. So, one of the things, do you know the story about after CCR broke up? I want to say this is in the late 80s, early 90s or something, and he was doing his solo stuff, and his record company sued him for sounding too much like John Fogerty.
Yeah.
He was like, I am freaking John Fogerty. I can't not sound like John Fogerty.
Well, it's because the record company owned the songs.
Yeah. But, he wasn't even singing those songs. He was singing his new stuff like Put Me In, Coach.
Yeah.
And they were going, nope, you sound too much like John Fogerty.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was partly his brother, too, doing that crap, too.
Really?
Yeah, and unfortunately, when his brother Tom was on his deathbed, and they hadn't spoken, they didn't interact. They'd go to family things and and be civil toward one another, but they didn't have any connection. And because they really, it had apparently been really bad between them. It had gotten intense.
That's sad. How many times have we heard about great bands where the egos got involved?
Well, and that's back to something you said about, brothers.
Yeah.
And they really had a sibling rivalry going on. Tom was 4 years older than the rest of them. The rest of them all went to school together. Tom was 4 years older, and I'm thinking when I was in high school, somebody that was 4 years older, he's the guy that's, he's long gone from school.
Yeah.
But anyway, when John kind of took the reins and started writing most of the stuff and writing his own vocal in as the lead and that kind of thing. Tom had been a lead singer, in the bands he had been in prior to this. But he just kind of went along with it. But
I've always struggled with stuff like that because here's the way I look at it. I've been in enough bands now or played in enough groups to where, when I was becoming a lead guitar player, I wanted to play lead. Mm-hmm. But now I don't care. If we started a band today, or you can even say this podcast, if this podcast takes off and it starts making all kinds of money because we're popular, I don't care. I just want to be part of it. Mm-hmm. But these people, they get their egos involved and they go, well, if I'm not the guy, if I can't sit in that chair, then I'm not going to be part of it. Well, that's just, to me, that's just silly thinking.
Well, after Tom died, the drummer and the bass player, Stu Cook is the bass player, Doug Clifford is the drummer. Mm-hmm. And they were always tight. Not only musically, but they were really good friends. And they wanted to play a more important role in the writing. And John, my opinion is, he was full of himself to a large degree. Rightly so. I mean, he had something that you can't identify another person that I know of that sounds like
right.
him.
Very distinctive.
So guitar or voice. I think.
That's true.
Right. Yeah, sound, that guitar sound, know it's in.
And the way he presents it. I mean, it was always high energy. But he said, okay. He finally backed off and said, okay. So on the next album, they each, of course, it's after Tom's gone, so there's 3 of them.
Yeah.
They each did 2 of them. John did 3 songs. Doug Clifford did 3 songs. Stu Cook did 4 songs on that album. And then they threw in something else that I can't remember the song, but it was a cover tune, some other thing. Anyway, he would not sing. John Fogerty would not sing on the other guys' songs.
That's petty. If you're in the right group,
I really feel he was.
If you're in the right group, let everybody have a say.
If they want it,
I mean,
some of them don't want it.
Right. Some people are good going, no, I'm just good being in this role. But you figure if you've got a successful band and you're going to put out an album, it was usually 11 songs. Okay, there's 5 of you in a band.
No, usually 14 in his.
Yeah, that's right. And and you've got one song, but it's 847 minutes long. So everybody can take a section of that song, right? But just give everybody. Of course, obviously you want the song to be a good song and successful, but that's where you come together and go, okay, this is Bob's song. Let's make this the best song we can for Bob, so that he's got he's shining at some point. But not everybody's like that, unfortunately.
Well, when Tom was on his deathbed, John did go to visit him, and in their final conversation, Tom told John that the owner of Fantasy Records was the record company.
Okay.
The owner was Saul
Goodman.
I was going to say the same thing.
That's a great show. He probably doesn't know the reference.
Saul Vance, I think, is his name. Anyway, Tom said to John, he's my best friend. And he was John's worst enemy. Because he's the one that did all the suing and stuff. And they went through lawsuit after lawsuit.
The worst thing I've ever done to my brother, Andy and I, we get along great. I mean, we go for long lengths of time where we don't get to see each other, but we always get along. We've been in various iterations of bands together and stuff over the years. But the worst thing I did for him is when we were in our 30s, this is how stupid we were. We were at a cookout at his house, and I'd been taking martial arts. And he's like, so you think you're badass, huh? And I was like, yeah. I said, come at me, bro. And he goes, all right. So he picks up a screwdriver. He come at me. I knocked his tooth out with a screwdriver.
Oh my God.
He had to go have emergency dental surgery.
No.
I felt so freaking bad. It was an accident, right? It was a total accident. It was not like I did some kind of Jackie Chan move. It was literally just a freak accident, and I knocked his tooth out. So, it's a shame. I could have. I mean, luckily it was just his tooth. It could have been his face. I could have jabbed him in the brain.
In the brain.
But brothers do stupid stuff, but to this day, he'll go, you remember that time we played Ninja and I nearly died?
That's great. He never shared that with me.
Yeah. It was bad. I felt so bad. Even to this day, sometimes when I pick up a screwdriver, I cringe.
Well, a couple of these songs on this album, we've talked more about the band, I think, than we have the album, but a couple of the songs on there were Lead Belly's songs.
Oh yeah, man! And I went deep into the
blues. I went into his stuff too.
I at one point, that's all. There was always a blues song on. There was a blues documentary on. I was reading about the blues. Lead Belly. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's the man for a reason.
Yeah. Midnight Special.
Yep.
Was one of them, and what was the other one?
Midnight Special is my favorite song in this album.
It's amazing. If you ask me,
that
is the song that to me it's iconic for many reasons. But when he first starts strumming that, clearly he's playing through a super clean amp, and it's probably a massive, probably some kind of Vibrachamp or something.
Yeah.
It's probably a Fender, and he's got that tremolo on it.
Yeah.
Oh my! It is gorgeous. That's the only effect. Just a clean guitar through a loud amp with a tremolo on it.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. And and then that's when he gets into his guitar playing, where you hear him doing all those little things inside the chord and whatnot. My favorite, got to be my favorite. I mean, there's so many good CCR songs, but that's everybody's favorite for a reason.
To me, this album, I was really torn on this album because I love CCR, but to me, it's like the song is either iconic or it seemed like a filler song to me on this album.
There was a couple,
especially
that I thought were fillers.
was it Don't Look Now?
Yeah.
To me, that is like the worst song I've ever heard in my entire life.
Yeah.
It sounds like a rotten. I don't like Elvis to begin with, but it sounds like a horrible Elvis song.
Yeah.
The mix, the guitar, the reverb in his voice, everything about it is horrid.
Yeah, I said I'm not a fan. I wrote down I'm not a fan. I don't even remember ever hearing this song.
I don't remember.
I wish I never heard that song.
Apparently, we didn't learn it.
Yeah, and like Effigy, I didn't like Effigy.
Now that's one that I liked just for the sound of it. I did like it.
Yeah.
I mean,
I do like Who We Burning Today. I'm ready to burn some people, so I'm just saying. But
what's the instrumental?
That was the one with the harmonica.
Yeah, that was a waste of space.
Yeah, I didn't.
Was it Poor Boy Shuffle or something?
Poor Boy Shuffle.
Yeah,
yes.
that was a waste of space.
Well,
and back then tape.
Now
they wasted a lot of tape on that.
Here, let's try it again.
Feces. Try and do that with me looking right in the camera saying.
No,
you could have it say bologna sandwich.
It's got to be similar in length. That's bologna sandwich is this long.
It'll be like an old kung fu movie.
Yeah.
I'll say feces and I'll go bologna sandwich.
I love it. It's almost like that John Mayer video we put out. Everything was out of whack and nothing was lining up. I was like, I'm done. I'm putting it out just like it is.
Let me ask you a question. Based on this is
you just pulled nail in right there.
I've stopped doing that because y'all made me feel so bad about it. Well, I don't ever preface.
Well, you know how you are.
I just hit you with a question now. So you're like, whoa, dude, where you coming from with that?
No, I liked it when you used to warn me.
I ain't warning nobody anything anymore.
Okay, I was a sophomore in high school.
Yeah.
When this was hitting the full steam.
Yeah.
At the same point when you were in high school, what was coming on the scene that really floated your boat?
In high school,
Yeah.
everything.
Yeah.
Were you playing guitar
I would say
at that point?
Yeah. I'd say the biggest thing Queensryche was probably my big band in high school, probably.
And see, that's
Yeah.
leap years
Yep.
past this era.
Yeah. But I still love the band. It's just some of those songs are just, I don't know why they exist.
You poor soul.
And that's why the dichotomy, like, these other ones are just iconic. And then you hear something like Don't Look Now and you're like, what's that crap going on?
Well, they did that with other albums as well. Some of them, the one after this one, Cosmo's Factory.
Yeah.
I felt like that was the better album, better than Willy and the Poor Boys. But the one beyond that, when they started fighting and bickering, it showed up in the music.
It always does.
Yeah.
Yeah, it always does.
So they were breaking up a couple months before you were born.
Probably, yeah, just about.
So
Yeah.
So I understand. I mean, if there's things here that you think are
horse pucky.
Yeah, yes. Yes.
Gosh, man, what's your
I said
language?
pucky.
Bleep!
You can
Bleep! I'm going to be sitting here going to bleep everything you say. It's these young kids today. He's the youngest one of us, man. They just got a potty mouth.
Yeah.
So what are kids going to be listening to?
Crap. It's so much crap right now.
Now we got to bleep that out.
I don't think there's anything in modern music that's going to last.
No.
Does anybody now say, oh, let's go listen to Katy Perry because she was so instrumental in the music scene?
No, I agree. There's
point.
I don't think there's, there's some folks on YouTube that I watch where they've had these discussions of,
You're not allowed to watch anybody except us on YouTube.
Good point. Good point. I shall not. I don't
Ours
want
is the only one I can get. I don't have reception for everything.
HR keeps coming down on me. I'm sorry, but since I'm already into it, they have these discussions of like, is there any music today that you'll be talking about in 40 years? I don't think so.
I don't either.
I don't.
But I wonder what my father, in his era, he was probably saying, that stuff my son's
But
listening to
look,
is crap.
you still listen to some of that stuff. Some of that stuff still resurfaces every now
or
and then.
or comes
That's
around
right.
again.
It does. So every now I get surprised. I'll be watching a TV show or sometimes I'll somebody in the background and it'll be a song from the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, and I'm like all right. So, but I don't think you're going to hear that 50 years from now with some of the stuff that's out today. Yeah. And it kind of gets me back. You're a Zappa guy. Zappa was talking, and I know when I get into this, you're going to know. He was talking about back in the day.
Who's Zappa? Who's Zappa?
Back in the day, it was guys in
Richard
suits.
Zappa?
Yep.
The guys in the suits back in the day were different than the guys in suits today. They were like, all right, let's try something new.
Yep.
Let's just try something new. So they'd throw some money at it, and they'd go, okay, that first album wasn't good, but it was okay. They would grow that relationship, right? But they were always looking for the next new thing. Nowadays, they want, hey, this is what's working. We want more of that. Mm-hmm. There is no experimentation.
The artist fits into the music instead of letting the music.
That's right.
Shine out.
So there's a guy when
Case in point is the country world right now.
Yeah.
All right, so
they all want to sound exactly like and.
Yep.
All right, so you brought this up. So I hate to have to bring this up.
I didn't bring it up.
So last Saturday a week ago.
It's his fault.
Right,
don't blame me for this.
Saturday a week ago, my wife, whom I love dearly, she loves that kind of music, which I don't. She took. We went to I can't even say it.
We went
to a Morgan Wallen concert. I feel so dirty.
I really wanted to go to.
I feel so dirty. So we go to this Morgan Wallen concert. I'm going to tell you, all right, we all agree that that's just not good. Now, are there some nuggets in there? Yes, every now and then you hear something that's a well-written song, well played.
That's what you got.
But for the most, so here's the thing: there was 3 bands led by a guy. By men, and then the opener was a band led by a woman. Well, we get there, by the time we got our seat done, the woman's off. First band comes out, right? Now, the stage doesn't change, except for, there at the end, they uncover all the big stuff. But so this first band comes out, they start up, the lead singer, he comes walking out to the edge of the stage, it comes out into the crowd, and he gets down in that squat, and he's pointing at everybody. He's got his hat turned around backwards. He's pointing, he gets up, and he does that like 6 or 7 times, And then at one point, the band, 2 guitar players, they walk side by side, they go down, they do this little thing, they turn around, they come back, right? Second band comes out. The guy walks out, he's got his ball cap, he walks right to the edge, he squats down, he starts doing, it was the same, it was like different songs.
The same show.
Right.
Yeah.
The guitar players came out, and I was like, okay.
And really, it's not different songs, really.
Right. I was like, okay. So if Morgan Wallen comes out and does this too, all right, because, so we've got 2 bands already that literally, it was like choreographed. They all have
the uniform
at the 4th song, at the 4th song you do this, on this song. Morgan Wallen comes out, he goes right to the edge. He squatted down so much, he's got to have the best leg muscles in the history. He just kept squatting and pointing at people, turned his hat back around, and his guitar players walked right out, did the same thing about 8 songs in. And I looked at Addie Grace, my stepdaughter, and I went, they're doing the same thing that the other band did. And she's like, what? I went, never mind.
She's like, don't you love it?
Right. But they had a great time. So here's the thing. I owned it. I embraced it. And I had a great time. And watching my wife and my stepdaughter sing and have so much fun, that's where I had fun. But it literally was copy and paste. It was copy and paste. So when I was talking to my son about it, I said it was like corporate. It was like corporate American country music. it was the same moves, it was the same songs, the same lyrics. You know, I heard probably, well, there was probably 4 hours worth of music. Yeah, I don't know why I'm doing that.
4
hours. 4 hours.
1, 2,
For those
3,
of you
4.
who listen on the podcast, I'm making some weird
4
hand.
hours.
I'm making weird hand gestures. I don't know why.
He has jazz hands.
So there was 4 hours worth
Oh,
of
that
music.
guitar player.
So how many you
No,
want?
that's this.
Oh, that's right.
You want to get 10 songs in an hour, maybe 8 to 10 songs in an hour. All right. So it was literally song after song after song about whiskey. Whiskey, 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 whiskey. And at one point, I'm like,
That's a lot.
I want a whiskey.
I'm like, good Lord. But anyway, so that where I'm going with that whole thing is, yes.
Long
today-
story short.
Yeah, long story short, Bob, is it's the same.
Is he ever gonna wrap it
Back
up?
in the day, you could go, like, you go to Woodstock and there was 10,000 different kinds of music being played there. There was folk, there was rock, there was blues, there was country even.
CCR was there.
Yeah. So, but now you can't get that nowadays. You're going to get 6 different versions of the same flavor.
Yeah.
You're going to get
And
vanilla.
that does get old.
You're going to get vanilla light. You're going to get
In any genre.
yeah.
I mean, there are other genres that.
Are repetitive and
Yeah.
that's why they're a genre.
Right. I was going to say genre again.
I guess so.
Yeah. Of the genres I hate the most.
Well, you know what? I'm going to be honest with you. As
Why
honest as I
start
can
now,
be.
Bob?
Yeah, I mean, you've done nothing but tell lies for 16 episodes.
Well, you know that I lean toward the country version of music for me.
And I've been praying for
My
you.
days. You can continue because I'm going to redirect because I'm done with the modern stuff. I'm going back to, believe it or not, Merle Haggard.
Oh, I have been
And-
too.
That's the kind of stuff I want to research.
I don't consider that
Delve
the
into-
same country
Yeah.
as
It's
this
not.
crap.
I hated
not
that
it.
stuff growing up. We've talked about that.
Yeah.
I hated it. Now I know why it's good and why it's important.
And this little exercise that we do has made me
I
start.
don't like
doing-
exercise.
I'm telling you what.
we can tell.
Hey, that hurt my feelings.
You've been busted. You have busted on us for. Okay.
Oh.
All right. So go ahead, Robert.
To make a long story short. No, I
When he calls you Robert, I feel like he's yelling at you.
well, I kind of get antsy because
That's my
Never
respect for him. That's me saying Mr. Robert, not
Yeah.
Robert.
yeah,
Not like your mom, James Allen Wattenberger. You come in here and get me a switch.
I don't know where I was.
All right, so
It don't much matter.
So let me say this: it's not just music.
ahead and say
I
it.
watched it. Oh, I'm doing it again. Okay, so I watched a thing the other day where they showed that Netflix came out and published their most popular shows, and the gist of this conversation was everything that's coming out of Hollywood right now is garbage. It's hard to find a good show or a good movie because it's regurgitated garbage too. Mm-hmm. Netflix, what they published, their most popular shows right now that everybody's watching is at least 10 years old. What's that tell you about anything that's come out in the last 10 years? Nobody cares about it.
Yep. I'm wondering who's going to get in their time machine 50 years from now and come back to a lot of this garbage.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they will,
I don't either.
Yeah.
but I don't know where they're going forward.
So, right. So, good. So, this has been a great discussion. Is there anything else either of y'all would like to bring up?
Is it time for the scoring system?
But I don't want to rush
Oh,
this
I'm
because
just-
I feel this has been
I'm
a
just-
fun, entertaining conversation.
I'm just asking.
other than your potty mouth.
You know what? Go.
Bleep, bleep, bleep.
Well, yeah, we can go with the scoring.
No, I mean, don't, if you got something
Well,
else to say.
I broke it down. Of course, you know how I do it. I give
You know,
each.
I asked because this can take a while. Sometimes.
I give each one, up to 5 stars
God, I've got
each time.
coffee.
Oh, we're doing stars now.
Oh,
not
wait.
points?
When
Well,
did you
yeah.
add stars?
Huh? Well, it's
You've
exactly
never had-
like it has always been.
Have you run it by the... I thought this was a try... Tried
and
Let
true.
me get on with it. Okay.
Woo, okay, go.
I felt like the vocals generally, now not isolating certain songs in this one, but the vocals got 5 stars because their harmony was spot on. I like John Fogerty's vocal. I think
I do
he's
too, yeah.
unique. He's powerful.
Yep.
He's got a range. You don't really tap into that because a lot of people can't sing that forceful that high.
Right.
But anyway.
Except for me.
They got 5 stars there.
When you kick them in the nuggets.
You got to give me a warning.
What,
when you
nuggets
get-
is bad? I
Fashion
like
nugget.
chicken nuggets.
Look, you're gonna have to give me like a nod or something so I can bleep you
I'll
out.
go like this.
Okay, lyrics are broken down into 2 different ones because one of the reviews on John Fogerty, he said,
Yeah.
you know, there are songs that he sings on the political side of things,
Yeah.
like Fortunate Son,
Right.
for instance.
Right.
And there are others that are simply for entertainment. And I love that because that's what most of their songs are, is entertainment.
Yeah.
Or imagery.
Which I
I
can
learned that word
appreciate
last
because I get so ticked off when
Don't take my words.
We've talked about just tell me something. I don't have to agree with it. I want you to tell me something, but I don't want you to preach to me.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I don't care. Just one, entertain me first, then tell me something. But
That's right. Although I do, obviously Fortunate Son is political, but I do feel like it's more story based than
It is.
pushing a message
I
like some
agree.
of them do.
Yeah.
But it's true. I think of my dad when I think of Fortunate Son. Always, every time it comes on, I think of my dad. My dad had a 9th grade education. He literally lived on a little farm with no electricity. They plucked him up, sent
By a
him to
nunnery?
Vietnam.
Was it by a nunnery?
No, it wasn't by the nunnery.
Were we neighbors?
See, I just denied you. The first rule of improv is yes and. I'm sorry, I should have taken that somewhere else. But they plucked him up, threw him in Vietnam, and he was proud of his service there. But you know what? Literally, that song is you're fighting a politician's war. The politicians' kids didn't have to go do that.
That's exactly what. That's what that song was about.
Right.
And well, yeah, that's basically it.
So how many points did you give?
Well, for the entertainment, they got 5.
Out of
because
how many?
I felt like they did really well.
Out of 5?
Out of 5.
Okay.
The political side, I felt like was a little weak, so I gave them 3 points there.
Because Bob's very political.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah.
I've heard your protest songs.
Have you?
Yeah. I
With-
mean, he burns
with the-
other countries' flags as well as
the one I did with the flute and the saxophone?
that was. Look, dude, that was so angry.
Was that the Swedish?
Kenny G
was that
helped
the
out on
So
Swedish?
imagine this.
That was
Imagine
the Swedish fight song.
Yeah, imagine Kenny G combined with Rage Against the Machine, and that's Bob.
Rage Against.
Scenes.
We'll get there.
Wait until we introduce you to Rage.
Oh, no.
There's F-bombs in that. Ooh.
Look,
that's
every
hard.
song. Look,
man.
look. He sat down. And literally, how many times can I put the F word in this song?
I'm glad to bleep it.
All right. So go
Okay.
ahead. So
Okay, so rhythm section got 5 stars.
Yes,
I
I
thought
agree.
they were impeccable.
mhm.
And I heard a producer comment on their ability to maintain the beat, the timing.
Mhm.
No click track, no such thing back then, but they varied very little.
Yeah.
Catch what I did there?
Yeah.
Varied.
There's a variance. Oh my God! It keeps going up. Oh.
Public appeal.
Yes.
For that time, there was nobody that didn't like them that I know of.
Yeah.
5 stars.
Okay.
Okay. Stu Cook's bass playing.
Yes.
He got 5 stars for every song except the one he played the wash tub on.
Yeah.
He didn't do such a hot
No,
job. So
no,
I
that was terrible.
I just gave him 2 stars there. And
It's one
John,
of those filler songs I
Yeah.
skipped.
and the question on whether or not John Fogerty was the one to blame in a lot of the turmoil in the group. There are so many varying stories, but when you listen to each one of them talk,
Yeah.
I think he was to blame. So I took a couple stars away from him. So
Yeah.
basically the entire thing out of 42 points, they got 35.
All right. Well, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty good. So, for me, I would have to say, other than the filler songs, it was a trip down nostalgia lane for me because, you know, we lived very rurally. We lived out at one point. We lived literally in the woods in a trailer with no running water. You know, and
Did you have to walk to school
Up hills both
Yeah.
ways.
in the snow?
for real. So we literally we had tapped into our neighbors' electricity, so we had electricity. But even though that was
And
very
cable.
you know, right. But even though I was, you know, we were very humble, these songs were kind of in the background at the time, but we were kids at the time. We didn't realize how hard it was. We knew we were poor, but we didn't care at that point. You know, we're having a good time. We're sitting out on the porch with my granddad. He'd whittle. These songs would be in the background, you know. The Cotton Field song, I grew up working on farms. My
That was
mom
a
and
Lead
dad.
Belly song.
Yeah,
That was a
right.
good tune.
I never worked in cotton. I always did, you know, tobacco, you know, hay.
When them cotton balls get rotten.
Right, that's right.
Got-
So my parents would literally drop me off in the summer. They'd drop me off at dawn, and then the farmer would bring me home after work. After dark, and drop me off. You know, so I grew up work. So this is nostalgia for me, in a good way. You know, because some of the life lessons I learned and my work ethic that I have came from working on the farms and stuff. But except for that, you know, there was this one farmer, and he wanted me to date his daughter. And
farmer's daughter.
By this time, I'm not driving, but I'm a teenager. I'm like 13, 14 years old. And Becky was a stout girl, you know. she had some hair on her chin, you know. And she was always wanting to wrestle, and I was like, I just don't know if this is good for me. But luckily, that was just one summer, and I was able to go away. So anyway, I'm derailed as usual. But as
I'm glad you did. That's a mental picture
So-
I'll never forget.
so out of 6,742 stars, see what I'm doing here?
I got you.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 50%. Because I can't do the math in my head right now. 6,000.
But that's a lot more points than I gave it.
What
can
did I
tell
say?
you.
6,742. So that'd be 320. That'd be 3,239.5.
5 and 2.
If you square the hypotenuse, you're going to get it. But
Okay.
all right,
I'd say he scored pretty high.
all right. So Andrew.
Well, out of 25 rainbows, I give it 5 cups of coffee.
You're not being serious,
No,
man.
no,
you gotta
no.
be serious with
We
this
take
stuff.
our scoring system just as seriously as you take yours. That was good. That was so much better than what I came up with, Andrew. I'm so proud of you right now.
Thanks, man. I've been working on that.
I've known you for about 3 years now. I've never been prouder. That was good.
Man,
Well, do we have 3 questions?
Yes. Okay.
I think that was all 3 of them.
I have a question.
Okay.
If you're in a
ahead
cotton
and
field
ask it.
and you're picking the cotton and the cotton's done gone bad, do you play this album to help you bring some peace, get you through the day?
Let me think of the lyrics. It doesn't say.
I think it helped me through the day.
I think so too. Yeah, I would play it.
Yeah, all of this album would help me. I mean,
Yeah.
I liked even the parts nobody else likes. I did, because music to me before this particular point in my history
Yeah.
was just listening to music.
Right.
Maybe singing along with a lyric here and there, but this is when I started to pay attention to it to learn it.
Yeah. No, I got you. Me too.
So-
Yeah. Yeah. That's
so
like I said.
it had an effect that way.
Yeah, I agree. You know, it was one part of the soundtrack of my life at the time, and it played a role in how I became a musician. So I agree with you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, I got a little different question this
Okay.
week.
Oh, deviation.
Was anybody else tricked
Don't call
into the
me.
fact of thinking they were a Southern band as opposed from California?
They're from San Francisco.
Yeah.
All that time, I'm like, man, what are they from? Like
They were-
Louisiana or
Yeah.
somewhere
They
down
were
there?
Because they had that
They're from
swampy,
California.
because there are songs on there that are so swampy sounding
Yep.
and so southern
and they all
sounding.
sing about the South, and I'm like,
They were big time.
like
posers.
son of a beep. They're from California.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Now, John Fogerty went down south to experience the South that he had always sung about.
Well, there you go.
Later, after he was, the band.
And then he's like, "Damn, I got it wrong."
but people loved it.
Yeah,
People thought it was,
Yeah.
people down there identified with it.
yeah. Well, that shows your musicianship,
Yeah.
and if you can, as a writer, they say always, you've heard this, write what you know. But then I saw Stephen King said, "How boring is that? Write something that you
Make
don't
up
know."
stuff.
Yeah, really, So if you can say, "I wrote something about the South that I'd never visited, and it resonated as
Yep.
true with those people," then you're a good writer.
Yep.
Okay, so I've got not a question, but after you're finished with yours,
Oh, I'm done.
you're done.
You
Yeah.
are so polite suddenly.
Yeah, I know.
I think that pill
he's
kicked
saving
in.
up.
I'm saving up for the next episode.
So why don't we? Are either one of you songwriters of sorts?
No, I've
No.
tried.
I
can't.
consider myself a lick writer, but I can't write a song.
Yeah, I'm saying I can sit down and write riffs all day.
So you need to put stamps on stuff.
But my thing is, no lie, I'm not trying to be funny, but no matter how hard I sit down, I've written books and published books, but when I try to write a song, it's terrible and it always goes dirty. I always end up writing dirty lyrics.
Well, why don't we pick a subject
Yeah,
which really has nothing to do with either one of the three of us,
yeah,
and we'll each try to write a verse.
okay,
Doesn't matter if it goes with music or not.
okay.
We'll maybe put music to it later.
I love it. I love
Want
it.
to try that
Yeah, let's
for
do it.
maybe next week?
All right, I can do that.
We got to do that in a week.
4
No.
lines? Come on. 4 lines. All you need is 4
All right.
lines. That's a verse, right? 4
All right.
lines? That's a short
Well, it
verse.
depends.
Unless you're Bob Seger. Remember we talked about
King
how...
Gizzard, I don't know. King Gizzard. You
Well,
ask
what was
him.
that Polywalla Gondoland that we got? How do we fit Polywalla Gondoland? What rhymes with Polywalla Gondoland?
Purple.
Yeah, actually, the way it was structured in the song, that's correct. No, okay. So what's the subject?
You pick. This is your idea. Unless you
Well,
got some-
we'll get back to you on that. We're going to surprise you guys with
Yeah.
something.
Yeah.
Stay tuned.
Yeah. So, well, we enjoyed this
I've got an
episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, going back that far, I might pick some albums that go back that
Yeah.
far now. So,
Yeah.
Yeah.
all right, cool.
All right.
Make me
Anything
happy.
else? Anybody?
I think that's it. My
Yeah.
tea is empty. We do want to ask them to subscribe.
Subscribe. Like, subscribe, tell your friends. We're still trying to get all of Ireland to watch us.
Hey, we do
You
have...
know who-
let me...
You know who you are.
All right, look, I know we need to wrap it up, but here's the thing. I was checking this on the way in. Guess what?
We have an influx of Irish people.
Yes.
Good.
So Ireland, 1, 2, 3, 4. Ireland is our 5th biggest country that we're
Come
in.
on, Ireland, step it
All
up.
right.
So we are in 14 countries now, okay, and we're in 67 cities, right? Ireland is number 5. The coolest city though is, I gotta tell you this has cracked me up because I didn't even know it was a city. All right.
Pollywannagondaland.
There we go. On that, we are in Polywalla Gondoland. All right, go for it.
All right. As always, stay uncool. Like what you like. Deuces.
Bleep. Here, let's try it again.
Feces.